Hello, BookTube. It's day 4, part 4 of this massive book haul. Again, just to sort of reiterate, in case you haven't seen the previous ones, I got about 150 to 170 or so books. They were all free. I just had to pay courier shipment, which was pennies, basically, per book. Courier charges here in the UK are really cheap. You can send like a 30 kilo box for under £5 most of the time. This happened in January. I had that hiatus of me heart attack and COVID. While I was in the hospital, everything came. So I'm just sort of feeling well enough now, I think, to do videos. Still sort of poorly, still feel really rough, not up to par. I have sort of started reading again, forced myself, little chunks at a time, and I have to reread. I think I've got what, for the long COVID, is brain fog. So do excuse me more than usual when I'm trying to find a word. I know it's there, but it just won't come out. And other things, it's a bit maddening. But anyway, let's get to the books. This is the 4th pile. And again, we're back to archaeology with John Romer. One I used to have, a different edition as well. This is Great Excavations, John Romer's History of Archaeology. It was it says I've seen on Channel 4. I don't know if I've actually seen this series. Unless it was just a one-parter, but I wouldn't have thought it would be. And you can see it was a remainder copy at sometime. Just Books. I'm not familiar with that one. Yeah, it's well illustrated. It's sort of a general history, obviously. It's Cassell. 2000. I do like John Romer. I like his presentation style on his documentaries. I really like the Ancient Lives, which dealt with Deir el Medina in Egypt. It was the sort of village where the workers for the Valley of the Kings lived. And it's just fascinating, and I remember doing several projects on that in university. I did a report. It was all French excavation reports. I forget the guy who did it, but it's just, I can't read French, but it was weird that I was able to glean everything that I needed out of the reports pretty well, with the help of somebody who could speak French to translate the sort of a few parts for me. And I loved it. The village is just fascinating, and all the ostraca, like limestone chips of stone, and with all the hieratic writing on it. So much literature, so many things like letters and all sorts. Anyway, I could go on and on about it, but I'll stop. Yeah, and then we're back to literature here. Artful Experiments, Ways of Knowing in Victorian Literature and Science by Philip Urchinger. It's another one of these bare naked hardcovers, pictorial. This is Edinburgh University Press, and it looks like it's from a series, Edinburgh Critical Studies in Victorian Culture series, edited by Julian Wolfreys. And there's a whole page of titles for the series. This was published in 2018, so it's very new, so this could very well be remainders, because the library, what I got was sort of the remnants, the last books from a massive library of a couple that were professors. He did archaeology / history, and she did literature and media studies. So there's a lot of literature, there's history, weird sort of not weird history, but, well, sort of weird for the UK in some ways. Just a smattering, and it's just it's just a sort of just I could, well, they were free, as I say, and it was and they just wanted to get rid of this stuff. They had to move this. They had the bulk of the library apparently in storage. There must have been, by sounds of it, 10,000 books or more. And if this is any indication of it, it must have been a fabulous library. Like the film books must have been just, oh, I would have loved to have gotten my hands on those. But I was probably about 5 weeks too late. Before Christmas, I could have got the whole kit and caboodle free if I wanted. Somebody else beat me to it, and this was just what was left that they couldn't fit in the storage, and they had it at home, and they wanted it out. So I was on Skype with this guy for quite a while, and he held up the book, and I said, yeah, I want it, yeah, nope, yep. But anyway, enough of that. Yeah, this is sort of Artful Experiments. What is the connection between Victorian writing and the experiment? Artful Experiment seeks to answer this question by approaching the field of literature and science in a way that is not so much centered on discourses of established knowledge as it is on practices of investigating what is no longer or not yet knowledge. The book assembles various modes of writing, from poetry and sensation fiction to natural history and philosophical debate, reading them as ways of knowing or structures in the making, rather than as containers of accomplished arguments or story worlds. Bear with me, I'm going to turn my phone off. There's just do not disturb so I don't get messages then. So yeah, so that looks kind of interesting. When they say sensation literature, I got to look at it. I wonder if they're talking about what would be sort of a science fiction. It'll be interesting to look at. Oh, now we get back to some archaeology, some serious archaeology here. This is Stone Vessels and Values in the Bronze Age Mediterranean by Andrew Bevan. It's a Cambridge monograph. Yeah, it's in really good shape. This is 2007. It says the societies that developed in the Eastern Mediterranean during the Bronze Age produced the most prolific and diverse range of stone vessel traditions known at any time or anywhere in the world. Stone vessels are therefore a key class of artifacts in the early history of this region. As a form of archaeological evidence, they offer important analytical advantages over the artifact types. Virtual indestructibility, a wide range of functions and values, huge variety of manufacturing traditions, as well as the subtractive character of stone and its rich potential for geological provenancing. Yeah, so it's quite a serious book, a monograph on the stone vessels. Again, not something I'd sit here and read anymore. I don't think too much. I'll look through it, but it's being free, I couldn't pass it up. No idea if it's still in print or how much it is, so we'll take a look at all that kind of stuff later when I need to probably divest myself of stuff. Oh, this is a nice one. Pleasures and Pastimes in Victorian Britain, Pamela Horn. I like her. She's a good historian. I think there's a couple of these. I've got, it's a series. This is Sutton. I've mentioned Sutton before. This is after Alan Sutton sold, but the company. So it hurt a little bit, but they still put out a really good product. This is a series of books. I've had two. I think a village child and village schools, I think. I might have that one there. I'm not sure. But I know I've got a couple of these now. And well, I probably have 4 or 5 now with what's everything in here. This is, as I say, Sutton, 1999. And it was a paradox of 19th century Britain that while work was the bedrock upon which the Victorian vision of progress and improvement was constructed, the years between 1837 and 1901 saw the greatest upsurge in leisure pursuits hitherto witnessed. The book deals with the pleasures and pastimes enjoyed by the Victorians, setting the various activities enjoyed into a context of the growth of leisure time and changes in occupational structure, as well as the increasing concentration of people in urban society. As I say, Pamela Horn, I do like her. She's a good historian. I don't know if there's anything... No, it doesn't say anything about her here. She's done a lot of stuff. Just trying to think off the top of my head, but this is sort of, obviously, it's going to be a general history. It's not academic in any way, but it'll be nice. It'll be something I think I will keep. Oh, this was kind of neat. It's a bit small, but The Changing English Countryside, 1400 to 1700, by Leonard Cantor. It's a nice hardcover. Oh, it's got a stamp from someone in here, so I was going to say it looked like a review copy, possibly. It's Routledge and Keegan Paul, 1987. The period covered by this book was an important one for the rural landscape in England. Professor Leonard Cantor describes and analyzes the evolution of the countryside during the years which witnessed the gradual disappearance of the medieval landscape, the introduction of a new farming methods. Let me try that again. During the years which witnessed gradual disappearance of the medieval landscape and the introduction of new farming methods and industrial techniques, thus laying the foundation for the radical changes that were to transform the English countryside in the 18th and 19th centuries. The main features of the countryside are dealt with fully in separate chapters, and examples are given of their remains, which can still be identified in the landscape today. So there's photographs, maps, and again, this looks like something that I'd be interested in, and there's drawings as well. It's short, so it's not something too taxing. It's less than 200 pages. It's probably quite academic, though, I would think. Oh, here's another one of those tales of, or whatever, tales of the old country vets. Valerie Porter, David and Charles. They're just, they're kind of nice. Oh, it's got a, so I don't know if it was used, if they were buying, well, I'm sure they were buying new books, old books, and everything. Again, it's this illustrator. I don't know if it's the same as the last one we saw. But it's just a general anecdotes and memoirs that reveal the essence of the veterinary surgeon, high degree of technical skill, a robust and down-to-earth sense of humor, and a depth of compassion and understanding in dealing with creatures unable to describe their own pain and distress in words. So it's about James Herriot, but possibly older, but no, maybe at the same time. So, but yeah, it's part of a series that's kind of neat. Nothing spectacular, but Blood Royal by Hugh Bicchino, The Wars of the Roses, 1462 to 1485. And just standard British history This is Pegasus Books, 2017, so it's relatively new. Oh, this is sort of the second. I don't know if I've got the first one of his or not. It says this concluding volume to this rousing two-part history of the Wars of the Roses, England's longest and bloodiest civil war, narrated by a master historian. He's a graduate of Cambridge, joined the Secret Intelligence Service, MI6, author of Crescent and Cross. Oh, I think I've seen that, yeah. Razor's Edge, The Unofficial History of the Falklands War, Elizabeth Sea Dogs, and Battle Royale. He lives in England. So, yeah, just sort of good history. Not that familiar with the period, so it might be interesting. It might be worth getting the first one and have just a general history of it. Here's one of these that is just very strange for having it here. Sort of American history, but maybe he taught some American history, but this looks like it's a brand new book pretty well. It looks like a review copy again. It's a naked hardcover. It is Shifting Grounds, Nationalisms in the American South, 1848 to 1865, by Paul Quigley. Oxford, as I say, 2012. There's all blurbs on the back. Don't recognize any of the guys' names or any of the people's names. There's a woman here. Yeah, I don't know anything else about it. Looks like it's probably dealing with the same nationalism in the American South during that period, very short period of basically 17 years. Yeah, again, an oddity for me, but we'll see. Well, this is sort of goes hand in hand with something like that, but it actually is more interesting to me. American slaves in Victorian England, abolitionist politics in popular literature and culture. Audrey Fish. So again, one of these naked hardcovers, very slim, a Cambridge monograph, and it's never been read. It's hardly been opened. It's 2000, but yeah, it's got. Somebody wanted to know. This is kind of the thing that shows whether or not this is a print on demand. This is a print on demand by Lightning Source Limited in UK from Milton Keynes. So this is what's usually on the back. So it's on the sort of sometimes second last blank page or not, but that means it was print on demand. I don't know, and are they doing it with just some books, or had they did something like this for a review copy? I don't know, but it's interesting. It's there's quite a few of these that are like that. And what it's about, I'm assuming, well, it does say on the back here, it says, Audrey Fish's study examines the circulation within England of... Oh, the light is bad. Yeah. Audrey Fish's study examines the circulation within England of the people and the ideas of the Black Abolitionist campaign. During the 1850s, African Americans and others active in the campaigns to abolish slavery journeyed to England to present the slave experience and rouse opposition to American slavery. By focusing on Harriet Beecher Stowe's Uncle Tom's Cabin, an anonymous sequel to that novel Uncle Tom in England, and John Brown's Slave Life in Georgia, and the lecture tours of free blacks and ex-slaves. Fish shows the discourse of American abolitionism as it moved across the Atlantic and was reshaped and was reshaped by domestic Victorian debates about popular culture, taste, and the worker versus the slave, popular education, and the working class self-improvement. So yeah, kind of interesting. Yeah, this is something I'd be interested in. 1815, the Rhodes to Waterloo, Gregor Dallas. Is Richard Cohen books. I'm not familiar with the publisher. I was looking to see if it was a imprint of someone that I know, but I don't see it. It's from London, and this is 1996. And an enthralling account of the political, constitutional, and social life of Europe's capital cities in the year leading up to Waterloo. The 17 months from April 1814 to August 1815 were an extraordinary period in Europe, indeed in world history, a period which saw 2 sieges of Paris, a complete revision of Europe's political frontiers, and international congress up to Vienna, civil war in Italy, and international war in Belgium. George Dallas tells the story of these days through the perspectives of 3 very different European cities: the great metropolis of London, pre-revolutionary Paris, and Baroque Vienna. So that sounds quite interesting. Gregor Dallas, it says here, was born in London in 1948, attended Sherborne School in Dorset, received a BA University of California at Berkeley, and a PhD at Rutgers University in New Jersey. He is interested in peasants as well as presidents and kings. I don't know if anybody knows what the publishers heard of it. I haven't looked it up or anything, but if they know about the book, then, or any of these, do let me know, because most of them I don't know. Interesting. Big Chief, Elizabeth, How England's Big Chief Elizabeth, How England's adventures gambled and won the New World. It's a smaller book, and as you can see, that's a normal size hardcover, and that's, I'll just show the front. So yeah, it's a smaller little book, Hodder and Stoughton, 2000. Written by Giles Milton, author of Nathaniel's Nutmeg. In April 1586, Queen Elizabeth I acquired a new and exotic title. A tribe of North American Indians had made her their Weronza, Big Chief. The news was received with great joy, both by the Queen and her favorite, Sir Walter Raleigh. His first American expedition had brought back a captive Manteo, whose tattooed face had enthralled Elizabeth in London. Now Manteo was returned to his homeland as a feudal lord. It was a strange story that was to have an even more extraordinary twist. Raleigh's gamble would result in the first English settlement in the New World, but it would also lead to a riddle whose solution lay hidden in the forests of Virginia. So yeah, so it's about the colony. It says that Giles Milton is a writer and journalist. He has contributed articles for most of the British national newspapers as well as many foreign publications, and specializes in the history of travel and exploration. And in the course of his researches, he has traveled extensively in Europe and America, particularly in North Carolina and Virginia. He's the author of Nathaniel's Nutmeg and The Riddle and the Night. there you go. Again, not familiar with it. Oh, this is a heavy one. What's this? Ah, David Rohl again. That's another one. Which one is this now? It says it's a major television series, Pharaohs and Kings. That's Test of Time, volume 1. So I've got all 3 volumes then. The Bible from Myth to History. Not sure if that's supposed to be signed by him or not. An initial. It's Century again. 1995. Again, this is the guy who has proposed a brand new chronology. Okay, let's read the flap here. That's the best way to do it. I probably wasn't too concise or clear. Little conclusive evidence for an historical Old Testament has come to light in 2 centuries of archaeological evidence endeavor. Ever since the excavations in the lands of the Bible began at the beginning of the last century, well, 2 centuries ago, biblical scholars have been systematically stripping out elements of the narratives, the story of Joseph, Moses, Joshua, Saul, David, and Solomon, and consigning them to the realms of myth and folklore. Egyptologist and ancient historian David Rohl has made a discovery which challenges the modern skeptical view of Old Testament history. His revolutionary theory demonstrates that archaeologists have been looking in the right places for evidence of the Israelites, but in completely the wrong time. That's what I was trying to say yesterday, I think, not very clearly. The new chronology developed in a test of time reveals the true historical setting of the biblical epics, providing astonishing archaeological evidence for the existence of the Old Testament's most charismatic personalities. For the first time, the lives of Joseph, Moses, Joshua, Saul, David, and Solomon are examined from historical perspectives as David Rohl explores their cities, palaces, and tombs. Test of Time unveils such archaeological wonders as the destructed statue of Joseph in his coat of many colors, the Israelite city of bondage of Egypt, including graphic evidence of the plagues and letters from King Saul. Test of Time presents the most remarkable understanding of the Bible since archaeologists first began to recover the wonders of the ancient times. So, these will be interesting to read. I am skeptical of his stuff, but things have, have been done in the past, and it took a long time for scholarship to catch up. So we'll see. So I've got the 3 volumes. I don't know if there's any more. So that's really good then. Yeah, I'm glad I've got all 3. Here's one that's actually still sealed. So it's a Storyteller's Story, Sherwood Anderson. This is American. Can't get a hold of this to open it. Let's do this just slightly there, so it should pierce but not damage. This is the American Reprint Company. Okay. Jesus, getting long. Storyteller's Story, the tale of an American writer's journey through his own imaginative world and through the world of facts, with many of his experiences and impressions among other writers, told in many notes in 4 books and an epilogue. Sherwood Anderson. Copyright 1924. This is it is our pleasure to keep available uncommon titles, and to this end, at this time of publication, we have used the best available sources to aid Catalog said this is printed in an edition limited to 350 copies. Wow. There you go. I don't know what more than that. Oh. Well, a jacket. It looks like it probably should have had a jacket, but it's got the ISBN on the back. It's Classic Hollywood. University of Illinois Press. Lifestyles and Film Styles of American Cinema, 1930 to 60. Veronica Pravidelli, translated by Michael Theodore Meadows. Know nothing about it, but it's right in my interest, so it's good. I might have this in paperback. Graham Petrie, Hollywood Destinies, European Directors in America, 22 to 31. That is right up my alley as well. Perfectly in my alley. This is Routledge and Keegan Paul, 1985. I'm rushing a little bit here now because I got quite a few and I'm running over 30 minutes. Good Tidings. The History and Ecology of Shellfish Farming in the Northeast. Barbara Brennisel. I'm assuming Northeast America. New England shellfish, yeah. So there you go. Sort of a archaeological, ethnographical study. University Press of New England, 2008. Heroic Bodies in Ancient Israel, Brian R. Doak. Oxford University Press book. 2019. So again, there's some very, recent books with these. Authors from the ancient world rarely used great detail to describe the physical features and characteristics in their works. When they did mention bodies, they did so with very specific goals in mind, and particularly the bodies of heroic figures such as warriors, kings, and other leaders became loaded sites of meaning for encoding cultural, religious, and political values on a number of fronts. Brian Doak analyzes the way biblical authors describe the bodies of some of their most iconic male figures, such as Jacob, the judges, Saul, and David. These bodies represented not mere individuals, they communicate as national bodies, signaling the ambiguity of Israel's murky prehistory, the division during the period of settlement in the land, and the contest of leading bodies fought between Saul and David. There you go. Little odd. Oh, we saw one of these before. University Pennsylvania Press reprints. A little thing on Memphis, I think it was yesterday. This is Philosophical Essays in honor of Edgar Arthur Singer Jr., edited by F.P. Clark and M.C. Nahan. 1942, but this is a more recent reprint. I know nothing about him. Edgar Arthur Singer Jr. Oh, biography here. Now all roads lead to France. The last year of Edward Thomas. Matthew Hollis, poet. Faber and Faber, 2011. Edward Thomas was the most beguiling of the poets who lost their lives in the First World War. More or less unread in his lifetime, his writing has had a powerful influence on poetry today. His haunting account of his final 5 years is centered on his extraordinary friendship with Robert Frost, and Thomas's decision in 1915 to enlist in the army and go to France to fight in France. So there you go. So that'll be something that I'll probably be keeping, I would think. A couple more here, I think. Writing history with lighting. Cinematic representations of 19th century America. Edited by Matthew Christopher Hulbert and John C. Insko. Louisiana State University Press. 2019, another relatively new one. Film proposes virtually unlimited power for crafting broad interpretations of American history. 19th century America has proven especially conducive to Hollywood's imaginations, inspiring indelible storylines like the plight of Davy Crockett and the defenders of the Alamo, Pickett's doomed charge at Gettysburg, the proliferation and destruction of plantation slavery in American South, Custer's fateful decision to divide his forces in the Little Bighorn, and the onset of immigration and industrialization that saw old world lifestyles and customs dissolve amid rapidly changing environments, balancing historical nuance and with passion for cinematic narratives. Writing history with lighting confronts how movies about 19th century America influence the ways in which mass audiences remember, understand, and envision the nation's past. I kind of like the idea of that, yeah, and I like the history, writing history with lighting. So that's another film book that will go with my collection. Okay. The Model Wife, 19th Century Style, by Rona Randall. It's a little rough. The Herbert Press, 1989. A young lady aspiring to a good marriage in the 19th century had not only to be well versed in the strict codes of etiquette considered essential in society circles, she was also expected to manage a large household, to dress correctly, to be a compliant partner in the marriage bed, and to provide with devotion and obedience for her husband's needs and comfort, and further his career with the right social contacts. Rona Randall, drawing on her researches as a historical novelist, describes both the social and domestic world in which the model wife function, the balls, dinners, and at homes, the progressive changes in women's fashions throughout the century, the hierarchy of the servants' hall, and the purchasing and preparation for all kinds of food, with examples of contemporary recipes for the table, for home cures for common ailments. Yeah, there we go. That sounds kind of interesting. Anyway, this has gone on quite long, almost 40 minutes, so let's end it there. And I'll be back again with number 5. I might have to, we'll see how this goes, because I'm not sure if it'll actually upload. Anyway, I'll see you next time, BookTube. Thank you.